Joining me right now is XFC heavyweight contender Brett Martin. Brett, it's good to see your face. You got a deal signed. You must be happy.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm just excited to get back to compete and fight for a promotion that I know is going to give me the love I deserve and the promotion I deserve. You know what I mean? Regardless of how I look or all that BS that I feel like I deal with sometimes.
No doubt, man. Well, you're returning after 20 months around there. Talk me through the whole deal, the whole 3-fight deal that you're signing with XFC. How did it happen? Take us through it.
Actually, I've known Myron since he worked with KOP, way back when. So, obviously, when XFC started back up, he had mentioned, he wanted me to fight for him, and I was like, dude, I'm all in. You tell me when, where, and all that. I love fighting with guys that kind of know me personally, and they know how I am, and how my life is. Because that makes it just that much sweeter. I'd rather help somebody I knew than help somebody that I don't know, and I feel like that doesn't respect me. You know what I'm saying? So obviously getting this opportunity with XFC and Myron after knowing of XFC, back when I was just becoming a professional, it's pretty sweet to see XFC coming back. And he had offered, I think he had offered me pretty much a deal, and waiting for the opportunity to happen. I think XFC did a show. I'm not exactly when they did their show, but I ended up booking that fight with Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
So when I booked the fight with Bigfoot, it kind of dropped ties with XFC because Myron's, like I said, Myron's a good guy, so he wasn't like salty about it at all. I ended up still going to the tryouts at SFS and hanging out and meeting a couple of the guys and just kind of showing face because I think Myron knew that I'd always be down for a fight as soon as my fight career let me. So obviously when the fight fell through, I was kind of a free agent there for a while, and I felt like something was coming, so I just been working and. Yeah, he just reached out, and obviously the opponent, Chris Barnett, he's like one of the few guys that is around the world that I knew would take the fight. So that was a name right away that we had thrown on the table because we know, he doesn't care who he fights, because some people, obviously, politics of the game, sometimes you don't hear back on some of these contracts.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, like before we get into the Chris Barnett fight, I wanted to go back to last October, man. You were getting ready to fight Bigfoot Silva. It was a massive fight for you, huge opportunity, and it was canceled. I don't know. I don't even know. I think it was very close to the date too, if I remember correctly. So you must have went through a whole training camp. How devastating was that, man? Just to have that slip through your hands.
Yeah, I don't want to. Seem like I'm putting some sugar in the tank to make it seem like my situation's worse than anybody else's. But I actually had scheduled my wedding the weekend before, not knowing I was going to fight. So our wedding was already scheduled, and my wife, being the woman she is, she's going to let me chase my dreams regardless. So I actually did my wedding the week before, not knowing that the fight was canceled. So I was, I only had one plate of food, dude. I was helping I helped cook the pig. I set the venue up. I did the whole kit and caboodle, that a husband should do, for his wedding and some, and obviously I had a lot of help. You can't say I did it alone, but so we got through the wedding. Sunday happened, and everything with the wedding went great. Thankful to my wife, and she had a really good night, and we couldn't be happier. So that was a good thing. But yeah, we were packed up, dude, getting ready to head to the event. I just got home from work. Like I said, I work a full-time job, so I'm at work all day. Like, man, about to finally get back in the cage, get to take on a vet. I was, full camp. Weight was pretty good. I had a few, like 5 pounds to shred off when I got down there, but that's normal work. So, yeah, it was weird. Then my manager called me right when I got in the car, so obviously I didn't get paid, but it sounds like a lot of the guys that even fought for that promotion didn't get paid. So like I said, I'm not trying to seem like my situation was this bad situation, but I'm just very, very blessed to have the family I have. And then definitely my wife being so understanding, and she knew I was devastated. So we ended up taking a trip up north, across the bridge and staying the night up there because she has never been to the UP. And obviously me being a little bit farther north, I've been across to the UP a few times. And like I said, I was a lucky childhood. So I got to take her up there for a honeymoon, and, it was a little last minute. So we made the best of it. And like I said, I'm blessed because of the people I have around me, but it was definitely I don't want to say a shitty situation, but it sucked a little bit. It was a blow, you know, because we don't fight for that much money anyways. You know what I mean? So I felt more bad for my friends and my coaches who spent money on tickets for travel that, you know, they don't see that money ever. You know, and the tickets that we bought, they don't see the money for them either. So, I mean, I tried not to make it about me. You know what I mean? Morally, my team and all my people who have been waiting so long for me to compete, you know?
Yeah, man, you could say it, man. It was a shitty situation. You know what I mean? It's clear as
You
day,
know, I don't
man.
like, you know what I mean? I don't ever like to seem like I don't have, like, because I live such a good life, dude. So many people aren't, you know, capable or even just lucky enough to have, like, the job situation that I have. You know, everybody I work with is pretty cool and, you know, they're lenient towards the fight game. Everybody in my life knows what I do. And, you know, like I said, it's just blessing. So I don't want to make it seem like it's, you know, overkill or nothing. But, yeah, it was rough morally because, you know, that was 2 weight cuts back to back, you know what I mean? And I haven't gotten paid for them. So it makes you like, you know what I mean? It just sucks, you know, because I have a hard enough time getting fights, let alone having fights fall through.
Well, man, this fight coming up, though, Chris Barnett, XFC 44, your promotional debut. It's a great matchup. It's a fun matchup. And it seems like this was the guy that they wanted you to fight all along. Were there any other names that you guys were floating around?
I think when I first talked to him, I'm trying to think of this guy's name. Diesel, Todd Wolf or something like that. Diesel, I think is his name, was thrown out there. And like I said, man, I don't really care. And you know, I didn't want to make it seem like I was biting off more than I could chew. But, dude, I'll fight somebody ranked in the top 15. You know what I mean? I'm in there with Jamahal. So you can't tell me that it's any different. You know what I mean? Because I've been competing my whole life. I mean, now that I know that and I've been traveling to these UFC fights and I've been in these UFC gyms, dude, and I've seen it now. You know what I mean? So everything's in perspective nowadays. You know what I mean? So ever since then and, you know, how things are now, I just try not to overlook anything. And like I said, man, just take the fights I can take. And one thing about these XFC contracts that are dope, man, it's about winning. And one thing I've been very good at in my career is finding a way to win. I don't care what you say or how you say it. I got, you know, 11 pro fights and 9 wins and 1 no contest where I was winning the fight and accidentally threw an illegal blow and the guy didn't want to continue, you know, which is crazy if you think about it because I got 2 fights that way, which I continued in both fights willingly and would have continued if the ref didn't stop the fight. So I think it just shows my worth, shows my mentality, and that's the big issue with a lot of these guys like Sterling that just had that issue, and another, you know, couple DQs have happened recently in the UFC, and everybody's blowing these out of proportion and blah, 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 this and blah, blah, that. Man, I was in those situations and I never quit, you know, so I know, because like I said, everything's in perspective now. You know what I mean? God has shown me something in the last couple of years that, you know what I mean, I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean? And that's it. Whether I win, lose, or draw, man, like I said, I'm just blessed. So right now it's just about dialing in my body and competing the best I can. And like I said, finding a way to win like I do every time I get in the cage.
Definitely. And, you know, even though you didn't fight, you went through camps. You also was a big part of Jamal's camps for his fights.
Oh, man. And I don't, like I said, I always don't try to be overkill, but Jamal always tells me don't be shy. You know, I'm the, you know, biggest part of his camp. You know, outside of his coaches that help us game plan, you know, I'm the guy that I've changed my stances. You know, and that's what's so crazy about me is a lot of people don't know how intelligent I really am in the game. You know, I mean, you throw me into a situation, you say, hey, you can't do these punches or this shot, you know, in this 5 minutes. I'm smart enough where I'm going to be able to break my brain down and not do those things and then find a way to win still. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I feel, you know, in the coming years, a lot of people are going to learn about me is you better not overlook how intelligent I am because, you know what I mean, I'm going to come in there and put you away. Fast too.
When Jamal got COVID, you also had COVID alongside him. You know, it's probably logical, right? It's you know, you're next to him, you're gonna probably catch him. You're trading with him every day.
We're with each other almost every day. You know what I mean? And I've been very respectful to my other gym, and it's been really hard, you know, because it's a jiu-jitsu Muay Thai gym, so the jiu-jitsu side owns the gym, and they don't want any cross training. You know what I mean? So I haven't gotten to spend a lot of time with the guys who have been with me, you know, almost my whole pro career. So that's been tough. But like I said, I love Jamal, man. And everybody I train with and that knows me knows what Jamal brings to the table in my career and what I bring to the table in his career. So, you know, I had to do this transition for, you know, the better of us too and, you know, all my people around me. And my boys know at Triumph that as soon as things are open back up, they know I'm going to be over there as much as possible, because that's just the person I am. So, but yeah, I caught it. I mean, 2 days after him, I think. So.
Yeah. And man, when he caught it, of course, they had to delay his fight. And man, he was mad. He was mad.
I want to say this. And I want to say this because I think it was kind of bullshit. And I'll say bullshit because this is what I'm talking about with the UFC, man. I don't mean to step out of line and be disrespectful, but they were kind of ridiculous about how they postponed his fight. You know what I mean? Everybody else that had got COVID, man, they posted fights postponed. They posted that fight was canceled. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, that word is just kind of sketchy because it's like, man, you shouldn't be saying that. What's different than Jamal's situation than every other one of these situations that they've had, like their champions and stuff like that. So for them to even be able to publicize it like that, I feel like was bullshit. But whatever, we got to fight again, and he's going to have to pay for the words he said because Jamal's not happy about it, you know what I mean, at all.
Yeah, man, you and him, man, you guys been in there in the lab just working, and now you got this matchup.
And that's the thing. Jamal ain't never backed out of a fight. I backed out of one fight, 2018. I'd had a knee injury for most of my career. Anybody that knew me knew I had a knee injury, and I kept trying to fight through it. And it ended up being too much one camp, so I ended up getting a knee surgery right before I lost to Leroy Johnson. Like 8 weeks before I lost to Leroy, I had knee surgery. So I jumped right back into fighting. It wasn't like, so there's no quit in us. That's why we roll together, is because, we're going to find a way to fight. So Jamal did that for the safety of his team and himself and his family, not for the UFC. And that's why I love him. You know what I mean? Him not fighting had to do with his career and his people, which is how you're supposed to move when you're a fighter. You know what I mean? You don't do what they tell you to do. You do what you want to do because it's your life. You know what I'm saying? So I was proud of him for doing what he did.
Of course, man. And now, Chris Barnett, he brings the action. You bring the action. It's a different style, so it's a clash of styles. What is your breakdown of Barnett?
I've been watching Chris since I first started fighting because obviously he's actually a little bit in better shape than me physically looking. You know what I mean? But he's a big boy and he likes to have fun. He dances and he laughs. So a lot of people used to compare me to him. So, but he's a veteran, man. So I don't even like to compare my people. He's got, over 30 fights or almost 30 fights. So I don't even like to compare myself because he's been in the game a super long time, fought all over the world. So like I said, man, I'm always honored to fight these type of fights. This is it. Like I said, it's an honor to be in there, and we'll see whose game plan, does best. That's what it's all about.
What do you think is the intangible in this fight against Barnett?
Just don't let him play his game. I mean, he doesn't really. He's got power in his hands, and he likes to throw a lot of wild kicks and stuff. Obviously, if I get anybody to the ground on, even on a mild night, I'm probably gonna, be a big problem for him. Definitely now being at Jamal's gym, training with, I didn't even understand the jiu-jitsu pedigree over there with some of these guys. There's some big boys over there, 220, 230 that are high-level belts that I'm finally getting some hard-ass rounds in with. You know what I mean? So my ground game is gotten even as good as my stand-up has gotten over there. So it's like, I feel in my mind, if any of these guys slip on the ground, you've seen what I did to Parisian, not to name drop, I don't want him to get all his feelings hurt because I use him as, some hype for my career, but I just feel like I was mistreated and, people have overlooked me and I put him away. So I just, like I said, I know he won't overlook me because he's fought every type of person you could fight. So he's going to come more ready than probably anybody I've fought. And that's what makes it so great for me.
Don't you think cardio, that's a big factor in this fight?
And I feel like that's a factor with me for anybody. Yeah. Definitely now training with Jamal because Jamal's kryptonite for people is too much heat on the feet, which mine's heat on the ground. You know what I mean? So people don't understand we mesh so well because we're complete opposites. So the knowledge I built from him and the understanding of what strikes I need to use. And I just feel like, dude, I could really, be a big issue for a lot of guys in the heavyweight division just off pace. Literally just a pace, let alone skills. Just a higher pace for these guys. They're not going to like that. And angles, footwork. So a lot of heavyweights don't have that specific footwork. You get 2 minutes into a round, then that power goes out the window and you start beating their footwork. You don't even need power to put these guys away because they're not even going to see the strikes coming. So, that's what we're working for. And even earlier in the rounds, if you think I'm not working on my power right now with Jamal, you're crazy because that's, they talk about us not putting people away with one shot. That that takes years, man. That's not something that, not everybody just has that in their hip pocket like some guys. You know what I mean? I wasn't blessed with that. I've got some one-punch knockouts in my amateur career, but, that was back before I even trained striking. So obviously I have it. It's just, it'll come. You know what I mean? My last couple fights were some pretty tough fights, and, I had some injuries that weren't public, and I fought through them and still got the W over a couple of these guys. And that's what I mean. When I come healthy, and no excuses, ever for me, but, it's all what happens on fight night.
Definitely, man. You take all those experiences, you go into this fight against Chris Barnett. How do you see yourself getting the hand raised?
I feel like you said, my pace, and he struggles. I don't want to say he struggles on the ground, but his ground game is suspect in certain areas, and I've seen him get finished on the ground with stuff that I'm very good at. So, I'm not going to dig too far in it, which I don't care. Everybody knows what my game plan is. I'm either going to choke the shit out of you or beat the shit out of you on the ground if I get you there. Otherwise, you better hope my hands or my feet don't land. That's basically it. And you're going to have to finish me. Like I said, I got one loss, and it was a 5-round beatdown, and it's on UFC Fight Pass if you want to see it. So if you want to see a dog that won't quit, that's why I don't care about my loss. You can go ahead and go look at it. I took that fight right after a knee surgery. Like I said, no excuses. But, you want to see somebody that don't quit, go ahead and watch one of my losses, a 5-round fight. That's my only loss, is a 5-round fight. Not very many heavyweights can say that. You know what I mean? So I'm ready to do 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, feet or ground. I'm so ready for whatever. I just want to be able to feel that energy when I walk to the cage, maybe have some fans in the crowd. You know what I mean, man, just to feel like a fighter again instead of like a coach or a training partner. That's why I've grown such a huge respect for all my training partners. You know what I mean? Because it's so hard sometimes just to be the guy sitting there and not being able to compete,
For sure, man, for sure. Now, have there been any talks with XFC about a heavyweight title in the future?
Yeah, I would think so. I ain't here for nothing else. I need a target. And, obviously me being me isn't a big enough target. It never has been. Even when I was an amateur, they had to tie the belt to me to get some of these guys to bite on these fights, which I'm cool with. I'm all for them 5-round fights, because I feel like the later the fight goes, the better it is for me. So that's the goal. And I feel like XFC is with that. And if they're not, I'll make sure they are. You know what I mean? By the end of this next fight or the next fight after that, they're talking about maybe coming to Michigan or the Midwest. There ain't a heavyweight more popular in the Midwest than me right now. So I'll make sure I reassure everybody with this fight. And if they don't want to do a belt, well, we're going to figure something out. You know what I mean? Whether it's within these 3 fights. And if it's not within these 3 fights, I know they're going to come with a nice contract, because I'm going to win these 3 fights willingly. You know what I mean? And whether I fight with them and I build them or I go somewhere else, I don't care anymore. I'm not, like I said, the politics to me are whatever. I don't want to get rich off this. Like I said, I got a full-time job. I got other ways I'm going to make money in my life. I just need a little bit of butter here and there, you know what I mean, to help me push my shit along. So as long as they're good to me, I'm going to be good to them. I'm loyal as they come. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah, ain't nothing like some extra butter on that bread, right?
Hey, and like I said, man, I ain't never asked for nothing. You know what I mean? That's why all I wanted was a real contract with some real money, man. Don't be asking me to come fight for what I fought for in my first fight, because like I said, I work a full-time job. So you want me to ask my wife to take time off of work, you know what I mean, have her stay here because we can't afford it because they're not paying for that. You know what I mean? No, I promised her that she'd always be with me. You know what I mean? Unless we had kids. And even when we have kids, our family would take our kids so that she could be with me. You know what I mean? So this is something that I built with her and with these other people. So you're not going to get me away from that because of COVID. My bills are still the same, and I'm still floating the same way with my money, even though COVID hit us. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to change my ways because of COVID. I want to be treated how I deserve to be treated. And I feel like that was 2 years ago when I beat some of these dudes. So even for me to ask for it now, I feel like is a little BS. But, XFC is giving me an opportunity, and I'm giving them an opportunity at the same time. You know what I mean? As, being able to represent me. So I'm going to do my part, and I know they'll do theirs, and the rest will be history. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's a partnership. May 28th, XFC 44. Big fight. Thank you, Brett, for the time, man. All the best to you.
I appreciate you always, brother. Thanks for having me.